Hi guys, it's Danny. Alrighty, because many of you have asked me to make a video on Maxillaria Orchids, recently reclassified as Resiliency Orchids or something. This is a video with a few care tips, let's call it like that. It's not going to be a complete tutorial because I'm not very experimented with them just yet, and I had a streak of bad luck with them. But I'll tell you probably what not to do rather than what to do, and hopefully give you a few basic care tips. Mine seem to do better now, but yeah, I did a lot of mistakes with them. So I have here three Maxillaria types. This is a Maxillaria picta, which you can see in bloom right now. She just bloomed. This is the famous Maxillaria tenuifolia, which is supposed to have the beautiful coconut smell. And this is the Maxillaria rephensis, which is known to have a beautiful aromatic vanilla scent, and it really does. So first off, all of these orchids really like one single thing, and this is water. Never let a Maxillaria orchid go too dry because it will not really like it. You need to water it pretty often. Whenever the media is almost completely dry, you should give it a good water, and pretty much you should be happy. I've never had a case of overwatering, let's call it like that, with Maxillaria orchids. Now, the roots of Maxillarias can be a bit misleading. Many of the times they are pretty green when they grow, when they have root tips, but many of them do have red roots, and I'll show you the best example here. Red, or I don't know, this rusty color, this is the rephensis. The tenuifolia doesn't seem to have these types of roots to this extent, but the other one does. So if you have pretty reddish roots on your Maxillaria, don't worry. I'm not sure if all the species share this trait, but mine seem to have orangish red kind of roots rather than green or white. The second thing they all seem to really enjoy is super strong light. I could not burn this Maxillaria, and she sat in direct sun during summertime. Now, this doesn't really mean that you cannot really burn a Maxillaria leaf, but mine simply didn't. So I think they are very hardy when it comes to bright light. Now, they also do love bright light. Most probably you cannot get a tenuifolia to bloom if you don't have bright light. Direct sunshine is not a must. The picta actually bloomed without direct sunshine, but I did provide quite a lot of bright light. As you might know, I use sheer curtains that deflect the light and create this really nice bright haze, but it's not direct sunshine. The rephensis, however, she sat in direct western sun all summer long and she didn't get burned, so I think they are pretty tolerant, but you know, better not risk it. Now let's talk about something they absolutely hate, they absolutely don't like, and this is water and new growths. With the rephensis, I did the biggest mistake. I treated it for spider mites, and all the new growths actually died. They rotted, and there was nothing I could do about it. All of them. It wasn't one or two, and I tried to make sure that I dried the orchid, but it appears that the new growth is really sheathy. It has a lot of layers, so it's really hard to get the water out. So if your Maxillaria has a new growth, better not place any water in the growth as much as possible, because they really are prone to this. The tenuifolia had a rotten growth as well, so yeah, this applies to the tenuifolia as well. And with the rephensis, the picta, I really didn't put any water in the new growth and everything was okay. But with these two, be really careful when you water or when you spray or when you try to do a treatment of some sorts. They really hate having water in the new growth. And as you can see, mine is pretty full of dead new growths. However, they can still produce new growths even if let's say the growth dies. If it was mature enough, it will produce a new shoot from the base of the growth, even if it's dead. And here is an example. This one has a new growth here. Now, as you can see, all of my Maxillaria orchids do look different leaf-wise. This one seems to have a dark color and the leaves are pretty thick. The tenuifolia, you might know it, is pretty light colored and it has really thin leaves. And also the picta has sort of an intermediate color and an intermediate leaf width, let's call it like that. However, no matter how much light you will give to them, you will not change the color of the leaves. This is why I sometimes say that the leaf color doesn't necessarily tell you if you have enough light. For example, the rephensis, which sat in direct sunshine, did not get any lighter than this, actually. So it doesn't really apply. Now, regarding fertilizer, I just fertilize these orchids together with my other orchids. They don't necessarily have a preference. The Rephensis bloomed for me all summer long actually, so one pseudobulb can create multiple flowers. With the picta as well, a pseudobulb can create multiple blooms. I have 2 on this one, but they come from each side of the pseudobulb, and on this one I have 2 again, but they come from the same side of the pseudobulb, and actually one is on top of each other, so this one can actually create multiple blooms. And I am pretty sure the Tenafolia can do this as well, but I never rebloomed it. I had a really bad luck strike with this one, so I really don't know what to tell you about the blooms of this one. Now, someone actually asked me, how do new buds look in comparison to new growth? Well, when you have a new bud, look at this color. You will have a nubbin, very round nubbin with this dark red color, as opposed to a new growth, which is, well, when it starts to grow, it's red as well, but as it matures, it's really pointy and really thin. So it's actually pretty easy to spot buds from new growth. And as for the picta, because this has such a unique flower, all you need to do is look for the little dotting pattern, because its flowers have dotting pattern on the back of the sepals and of the petals, while in the front they are pretty yellow. So when you see the nubbins that are light in color and have spots, these are the buds. Everything else is a new growth. Now, Maxillarias are sometimes fragrant. Some of them are more fragrant than others. So as I was saying, the Tenafolia, which is supposed to have a dark red flower, is supposedly really nice smelling, and it reminds of coconuts. The Rephensis again is really nice, has a wonderful vanilla flavor, or better said, vanilla scent, and it's actually really aromatic, and I can actually feel it as I'm standing above it right now, so it's pretty strong. The picta, however, it does have a fragrance. It's not my style really, but I'll talk about it more when I present this particular orchid and its bloom. So you kind of need to search on the internet for your specific cross or species and see if it has a fragrance. All 3 that I have do have a fragrance, but as I was saying, some are more pleasant than others. Regarding temperatures, these guys like it warm, intermediate to warm, I might add. They don't really like my winter. The Tenafolia grows nothing in my winter time, neither does the Rephensis, and I'm not really sure about the picta just yet, but I presume it really likes warmth. Mine seem to grow and bloom in the spring and summer months, and also late fall, so I do think they prefer warmer temperatures rather than cold. They can tolerate cold temperatures, but they will not really grow anything in really cold temperatures. Regarding humidity, really they cannot be bothered. I'd say that if you have 40% and above, you're pretty good with at least these 3. I don't hassle with providing too much humidity. Of course, humidity helps any orchid, but it's really not very visible when it comes to these orchids. They can do very well in 40% humidity and a little bit lower perhaps. As long as you remember to water them, they should be just fine. I keep my Maxillaria orchids in a mixture of bark and sphagnum moss because I do want it to retain a little bit more moisture, but I also provide ventilation holes, and so far so good for me. As I was saying, I don't have spectacular results, but this is due to the fact that I did make a lot of mistakes with them. I rotted growths. I repotted the Tenafolia very wrong, and the old media that was trapped in the roots started to mold, and I had to repot it, damage the roots once again. But what I can tell you is that these orchids are actually really resilient. So if you cut away a lot of roots, yes, you might not have a bloom this season, but the orchid will bounce back. So actually, if you make small divisions of these orchids, you can actually propagate them really easy like that. All you need to have is a little bit of patience, but for most of the cases they will bounce back pretty fast and pretty good compared to other orchids. And pretty much that is it for the Maxillarias. I'm still learning about them. I have such bad luck with them. So to recap, this has a lot of rotten growths. Well, they're not rotten anymore, they're just dry. This had a root issue because I did a very bad repot on it, and this appears to have a virus. I'm not really sure. I'll just show you the pattern. It does not look good to me, so I cannot wait to get a test and test it. So I don't know, I seem to have a little bit of a bad luck with Maxillarias, but at least I learned from my mistakes, and hopefully my mistakes will help you so you don't do the same things that I did. Alrighty, thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this useful. Hopefully I will learn more about Maxillarias in the future and get more varieties and so on. I do think they're easy to care for as long as you don't make mistakes. And if you do, they will bounce back. All you need to do is have some patience. So if you'd like to see more videos from me, simply subscribe to my channel. I post on a daily basis. Feel free to leave me questions or suggestions for videos in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you either with a comment or with a video. If you click on the left side of your screen, you'll be directed to orchinature.com, where you'll find care sheets, identification sheets, and also you can talk to us in the forum section. And on the right side of your screen, you can click to watch another orchid video. Thank you for joining. I'll see you next time. Bye!